Hi, my name's Holly. Welcome to my kitchen. We are in absolutely beautiful Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. Bed-Stuy, do or die. And tonight we're going to make chicken tortilla soup. It's like the soul food soup of Mexican cooking, and I think that you're really going to love it. So the first thing that we're going to do is dice and briefly saute the pepper and the onion. And the reason that we're going to want to do that is to take just a little bit of the edge off of the pepper and the onion, soften it up a bit, especially since we're going to spend not very much time actually cooking this soup, and to let the flavors meld a little bit. You know, you can go ahead and dice the onion as small or as large as you like. I tend to be a somewhat lazy cook, and so I'm going to dice it fairly large. So we're going to saute this on medium-high heat until the onions are softened up a bit. And while those go, we'll just spend a few seconds cleaning and cutting the red pepper and giving it a little dice. Now, you'll notice I have a big knife. I say if you're afraid of the big knife that you need to go out and buy a big knife and really spend some time with it and get over that fear. This one, you'll notice, is not like a super fancy knife. It's actually like a crappy knife that you can buy down on the Bowery in one of those little kitchen supply stores that they have all over the place. And those work just as well, as long as you keep it sharp. The quality of the knife is somewhat important, but the sharpness of the knife is really important. So when you're thinking about how you want to spend your dollars, keep it sharp. This one, in fact, even has like a little chunk taken off of the end, and it's like bent there at the end, and that's because my fabulous boyfriend was doing a little like stabby on the board with the knife. And it still works fine. Why? Because I keep it sharp. Alright, so we're going to put in a little fresh ground black pepper. We are not putting in salt yet, because if you put in salt before the onions are actually softened, then they will never ever get softened. They'll just be little oniony pieces of styrofoam floating around in your soup forever. And you don't want that. Alright, so we're going to give this a few more minutes, and while we're preparing this, I'm going to also go ahead and open up my can of broth and prepare my garlic. Now, I didn't put the garlic in with the onions and the peppers, as you sometimes might hear people do, because I don't want for the garlic to get brown. You can see that the slices, I'm going to keep them fairly big. I'm just going to cut them in half. But you're going to want chunks of garlic in there. At least that's what I like. And I'm going to put in one. This is totally something that you can choose how much garlic you want. Do you want a lot? Do you want to skip it all together? I understand there could be some out there who are not crazy about garlic. You can skip it. I don't recommend. Alright, in goes the entire great big can of chicken broth. Now, once that's been added, we're going to turn it up a little bit. We want to get this pot of soup simmering. I'm going to let it simmer for a little while. Next thing I'm going to add is a little bit of cilantro and a little bit of lime juice. So, we've chopped up the cilantro. This goes in. This is not going to stay nice and green the way it is now. It's going to get a little bit brown. But that's okay, because, you know, soup is something that you want it to stew and you want it to simmer a little bit. As your cilantro gets a little bit duller looking, just think about how it's giving its life to support the stock. All right, what else? Little bit of lime juice. Just a squeeze or two. So this is 1/4 of a lime. I'm going to put in a 2/4 of a lime. And we're now going to also put in a little bit of cumin. We have one last step on this broth, and that is to add some canned chopped tomatoes. The best part about it is that you don't have to seed, you don't have to skin them, they're just ready to go. Now this is a big can, and I'm going to put in about a half a can. If you like a really tomatoey broth, you can add more, that's fine. This is all kind of casual as you go. So this needs to all just sort of simmer a little bit, and while it's simmering, we need to prepare the tortilla strips and we need to shred our chicken. Alright, so here's the little guy. sort of, I don't know, prayerful in a way. Check this out. You're just going to rip off this breast, pull off the chicken skin, and shred it. Your hands are going to get a little greasy, but that's okay because, you know, you feel like you really got your hands down in your cooking. Now, I like to use a little bit of both light meat and dark meat, but I'm not going to use the skin because it's going to have a lot of fat in it, and you don't want that skin of fat up on the surface of your soup. Okay, so this is about as much chicken as you are going to need for your chicken soup because you have a lot of other things going on. You can put in more if you'd like, but I probably wouldn't put in less. Next thing that we're going to want to do is make our tortilla strips. I cut the tortillas in half, and now I'm just going to make some really thin strips. And this is, again, where the knife being big and sharp is important. It makes really quick work of it. So you just go along and turn them into thin strips. So we're putting the tortilla strips, again, on a dry cookie sheet, and they're going to go into a 400-degree oven. When they go into the oven, they're going to get curly and they're going to get crunchy, and it's going to take about 15 minutes, around the same amount of time that it's going to take for the rest of the soup to simmer and for us to prepare the rest of our garnishes. So this is going to go into the oven, and we're not going to even mess with it until we're ready to eat. Now, we have the chicken, but I'm going to hold off just a few minutes more before we put this chicken into the stock. And the reason why is that this is already a cooked chicken. So we don't want to waterlog the chicken or to make it get really dry and powdery from being overcooked. And now I'm going to add just a pinch of salt. Another grind of black pepper. And I'm also now going to put in a pinch of cayenne. I have been guilty of putting in too much cayenne in the past and having my fabulous boyfriend run from the table and down a pint of sour cream to kill the heat. So be cautious with the cayenne. It's like, you know, a little bit of spice goes a long way here. Think about who your audience is. If your audience has a tender mouth, then go easy, and you can always add a little bit extra on your own at the end if you like it a little hotter. So while this is simmering, we have a couple of other things to do. We're now going to add an ear of corn. We're just going to go ahead and cut the kernels off the cob, and then we're going to dump them straight into the soup. And this can be, I have to tell you, a somewhat messy procedure. You can see they're kind of bouncing all over the place, but that's okay. What I'm doing now with the knife is called milking the Coring Cob, because you want to get that extra juice that's sort of sitting on there. When you eat an ear of corn and you eat the whole corn and then you go back and suck a little bit on the cob, or maybe I only do that, you're getting the milk from the corn and it tastes fabulous. You want to capture that in your soup too. So after you cut the ears of corn off, go back and run your knife over the cob to get that milk. And it's all going in to the pot. We are at the stage where the soup just needs to sit and bubble for a few minutes more, and we have the time to make our garnishes, which is the really fun part of making Mexican tortilla soup. And one of the reasons why I like to make it when I have people come over. They can put all their little stuff on the top and really make it their own. Therefore, we're going to go ahead now and cut some green onion and sort of just thinly slice it. I like to do both the whites and the greens because I don't like to waste, and I think it looks pretty. We are going to really, really carefully shred this cilantro stems out this time. And we're going to dice an avocado, and I'll show you my picture-perfect way to dice an avocado. First thing you do is you cut the avocado in half. I'm going to dice the whole thing because I love avocado. So you cut the avocado in half. Did you see what I did there? I whacked my knife down and I turned. And that takes it right out. How do you get smushy, delicious avocado out of the shell? Use a spoon and you slide it in just like that. It's going to slide under and pop. Perfect. Okay, so here we are. Avocado is sliced and diced and ready to go. I'm going to stick it in the bowl here, and I'm going to let people put it on as they want. So, in goes the chicken into the soup. Oh yeah, you can see how that's really going to make it nice and thick. And just about a third, maybe a little bit more than a third of a chicken. Really fleshes that out nicely. You can see big pieces of chicken, shredded chicken in there. You can see the fresh corn that you just cut off the cob and then you milked. You can see the bits of tomato and pepper. That looks amazing. This has been simmering for about 20 minutes and it is perfect. You can see that the broth has really turned this lovely dark color and all of the vegetables have really simmered in with the chicken, and we're ready to dish it up and put on its party outfit. So here we go. And as I said, this will serve about 4 people. You want to put something with it. Salad's nice. Some more corn tortillas or flour tortillas warmed is fantastic too. You know what to do. So we're set to garnish. What do we put on it? First thing, great big helping of these fabulous tortilla strips. That's what makes tortilla soup tortilla soup. We also want to put on some of these wonderful green onions. The surprisingly delicious and creamy avocado, and a good splash of the cilantro. Isn't that beautiful? It's ready to eat. And here we go. Mix it up a little bit. The smell coming off this is incredible. Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming to my kitchen, and I hope you have Mexican tortilla soup soon. Bye-bye.